right off the bat, we should point out that IARC, the International Agency on Research in Cancer, which is the standard agency, does not classify nicotine as carcinogenic, as is implied in this particular article. And this is because over decades and decades of research, nicotine has not been shown to be carcinogenic to humans. There are some studies that suggest there may be carcinogenic in certain circumstances in animals, but humans and animals, I mean, humans and mice, rodents in particular, are quite different. I mean, animal research, I'm just to go a bit broader on this and then specifically talk about this particular paper. Animal studies are, of course, quite helpful, but they have always their own problems. There's a good starting point. Cecily, they're not trying, they're not very helpful when we're trying to evaluate quite complex behaviors. And arguably vaping or smoking are quite complex behaviors. We can't get a mouse to actually smoke or vape. And so what people do is they put them into a cage and they fill the cage with either smoke or vapor. And that is already right at the bottom problem because the way that it's inhaled will have an impact. As one example, if you inhale more deeply into the lung because you include perforations on cigarettes, you find that actually people develop cancers in completely different locations. Now, a mouse won't be able to do that, so it's not particularly ecologically valid to look at, for instance, locations of tumors. What's more, it's very difficult to calibrate the exposure level. So mice will, for instance, lick deposits of their fur or the surface. Humans wouldn't lick a surface, so they probably get even more out of it than a human would do. So likely exposing them to more harmful substances. But more importantly, I think there are physiological differences. So mice, for instance, are much more sensitive to nicotine. And so some of the results that we see in studies, including this one, are likely to be the result of nicotine poisoning. In fact, in this particular study, some of the mice died during the exposure levels, right? So they're exposed to far higher levels of vapor than a human would be. A colleague of mine tried to work out what it is, and they basically calculated they're exposed to 450 years of vaping in just a year. And that tells you something about the fact that these are quite unrealistic use conditions.